Welcome back to Journey Back Home. This episode, we are going to be discussing finding a home.
Yes.
So let's get right into it.
Yeah, sure. So first, I think the most important thing is to say that I live in Lagos and you live in Abuja.
And I live in Abuja.
Yeah.
Yes.
And my reason for picking Lagos was that I needed something that was like a seamless transition into the UK's busy, chaotic, fast
London
and
life.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Lagos has that. It's very like hustle city. It's very hustle. It's very fast paced. There's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of things going on. And I just like the fact that Lagos is developing so much. And I think for me, Lagos is my choice because I knew that Lagos was more open to diaspora. Like you have a lot of diaspora here. You have a lot of people from different countries living here. And I think like Lagos is just mixed with diversity, right? So yeah, that was my choice. Why did you pick Abuja?
I think it wasn't just me picking on Abuja, it was my husband and I.
Yeah.
I think we had to think of somewhere that would be good for both of our, like, where we are in our lives right now. And he's lived in Lagos and I don't think he loves Lagos.
Like it.
Yeah, I think because he grew up in PH, so I think it's
quiet, definitely.
Yeah, it's just a different vibe. And so I think when he left Lagos, I think it just solidified in his mind that nah, he can't live here. But I also think living here now is just about location. I think if we were to come back to live in Lagos, it would be a very specific location that kind of shelters you from like all the traffic and everything like that. But we decided on Abuja just because I felt like it was a good balance. Like I have family in Abuja as well, but also it would be new for both of us, to be honest. And he hasn't lived in Abuja in years. I haven't lived in Nigeria. And I thought we needed somewhere that was going to be a new, nice, clean starting ground for both of us. And I've really liked it so far. Yeah. I think Abuja had the difference between Abuja and Lagos, I think, is just in, I guess, pace, I'll say. And maybe even some roads as well. And it's definitely a bit more picturesque.
And less traffic. 100%.
And yeah, definitely
less
traffic.
That.
Yeah, definitely
If you want to live in Lagos, just know you're going to live with Lagos. And Lagos traffic, like, is a norm. But actually, I live in Lekki in Lagos. And the reason why I also picked Lekki was I think Lekki is very central. Lekki is filled with like a lot of young people and it's right in the middle. It literally takes me 10 minutes to get to Ikoyi, 10 minutes to get to VI, and it's very easy to get around. And I love how central where I live is.
And if for the people that don't know like these areas, how would you describe
Lekki?
Lekki?
Okay, well, I would say like if you were in London, Lekki would be like maybe a central London, but like just outside, like so Greenwich. Like Greenwich, 100%. Like, because it's very upcoming. Like you see how Greenwich, there was a time, even now, there's like buildings just popping up everywhere. Lekki's that. Like in Lekki,
I would have said that Lekki feels more like Shoreditch to me.
Okay, well, that could work. So Shoreditch is not actually far from Greenwich. You could compare the areas.
I would say that, And then Ikoyi feels like, I guess, you're Chelsea.
100%. Yeah.
And then
VI is probably Oxford Circus,
like
area.
Soho. Gives that kind of vibe. Because that's usually where you're at your restaurants. You find like anything new is usually popped up there.
Yeah.
And where else? What other areas?
Yeah, there's mainland.
Okay, and then the mainland.
Mainland is definitely what would that like Dagenham.
Oh that's
Hackney. It's the
maybe
hoods.
not the main. No, I just think it's the non-gentrified.
Not all of it. There's like Ikeja as well, which is like quite nice, high class and very nice area to live in. So but I just thought like to help give a good understanding. So that's
of the
more
areas.
like a visual idea of what it is. But when I was coming back, I knew that eventually that I'll have to live somewhere by myself. So I saved up a lot of money, and I know a lot of people may not plan to.
And when you say a lot of money, how much was the?
So at that time, remember that's 2015. Okay, so I had like maybe like 3 to 5 million at that time, and that was a lot more than it is now. Because 3 to 5 million now would probably get you rent for 1 year, maybe like a 1 bed, maybe a 2 bed on the island in Lekki. But things are steadily increasing. But at that time, I remember looking for houses maybe in like 2017, and I was seeing one bed for like 800K.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was very cheap. 2 beds for like 1 million, 1.2. Yeah. Those were the good times.
Good old days. Good times.
It's very different now. Yeah. So I would say like prepare for where you're going to live is very important. So I had that in my mind. Where am I going to stay? Obviously, I was a lot younger when I first moved back, and I didn't want to stay by myself to start with anyways. So I asked like a lot of family members, can I stay with you? Do you have space for me? So I sorted that out. And to begin with, I was living on the mainland and then moved to the island, which kind of gave me 2 perspectives. So the time where I was older to live by myself, I was around 24 when I first moved by myself. And I was like, that was like 3 years in. And by that time, I was like, okay, I've lived on the mainland, I've lived on the island. Which one do I want to live in? And it was definitely the island. So yeah, I think I'll get into like the whole finding a house. But what about you? Like, did you prepare for where you wanted to live? Did you know where you wanted to live?
So we were looking at so many different areas in Abuja. So there was Kantape, there was Wuse, there was Itama. All those places are actually really expensive.
What's expensive though?
Okay, so expensive is what you said, like for 2-bed, like 10M.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly.
Abuja is more expensive than Lagos by far. So, okay, it's not actually by far. In fact, it's getting to the same level. But Abuja is actually...
Initially been known to be more expensive.
It's known to be more expensive, yeah.
So the place we ended up in an area called Kaura. And I think our place was like 6.5 or something, nearly 7 for a year. And then to do all the extra bits that we had to pay for... I say we, but you know, yes,
it's we now. Yeah, it's we. You're 2 people. I'm one.
Yes. So we paid for. So, and I will say that my transition in us finding a home was really more about the house, more so about location, because I really am not that familiar with locations, and especially more so in Abuja. Like, actually, if we were living in Lagos, I think I would have more of a preference, I would say. But because it was Abuja, I would be lying to you that I have a preference. Now living where we live, I still really like our location, but I would like to live more like central just because we're about 15, 20 minutes to the central places. And I think if you want to find the best, like the gyms and just like restaurants, then it's nice to just be already in the central instead of having to drive into it. But I still don't hate our location. I think it's a great first home. But I think in finding that home, it was quite hard. And there are many things and factors that came in, because my husband is Igbo, and something I never thought that he would face, I guess, is tribalism, which that was completely new to me in when he was searching, because he would say, and he never actually told me right away. It was only until much later I was saying, how's the house hunting going? He's like, there were some houses they wouldn't want him to, they would ask him if he was Igbo, and they wouldn't actually, they'll say they don't they don't rent out the house to Igbo people. And I never knew that was a thing. And I think, again, it goes back to my, I guess, naive understandings that I'm Nigerian, we're Nigerian. How can that even be a thing? But that's really a thing. And when I shared it with you, you were like, oh yeah, that's her reaction to me was very normal. And I was like, that is not normal. Why is him being Igbo? What does that change?
I think in Nigeria, there is a lot of tribalism. When you come here, you realize how much that there is a segregation towards the different tribes, and it affects like where you work, where you live. But it's getting better now, I would say, but it's a thing. So like,
it's still a thing, because I was still shocked. Like, I think I was even more livid than he was, to be honest. He just was like, oh yes, whatever, and he just moved on. But I just couldn't sort of. I was like, are these people crazy? Like this doesn't make sense. And I guess even more so, I'm like, but this is my husband. Like it just upset me a lot to think that he's been discriminated on something that he cannot change and control. Like,
I think for me, the discrimination came when I was looking for houses and realized they don't allow a lot of single females to live in certain areas. Okay. So I would go to like look for houses and they'll be like, are you married? Instantly, I would just be like, why are you asking that question? Why does that matter? But it actually does matter, because there is this I would say the stigma on single ladies, this stigma that maybe were a little bit less responsible. And some landlords don't like that. They don't like you, single ladies living in their house because they don't know what is going to come.
But what about single men? What the hell?
It's a little bit different for men because they know as a man, you're going to get married soon and whatnot. It's just a little bit, I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, I had a lot of issues with that. Even to a point at one time, I had to get one of my cousins to come with me looking for houses. Yeah. So my cousin came with me and they didn't even ask him questions. They didn't even ask both of us anything. They were just, everything was smooth. But anytime I went by myself, I found issues with, oh, are you single? Are you married? They wanted to know about me. And I know that they do a lot of like background check in a lot of houses before they actually allow. So they checked where you work. They wanted to have a guarantor. And it makes sense, but there was just some certain information that I just felt like it was very unnecessary.
Of course, it's unnecessary.
It was very unnecessary. Also, I do want to talk about the fact that the difference here in Nigeria is that there is 1 year rent.
Oh, yeah, so, it's not a monthly.
Yeah, so in the UK, coming back from like paying monthly, it's a big difference between having to pay a whole year.
Lump sum,
However, there are platforms that you can find monthly. It's rare, but it's there. Because when I first moved at the age of 24, I was quite young and I didn't have millions of naira to kind of spend on a whole house for myself. Okay. So what I did was I looked for shared accommodation. Okay. So there was platforms like Muster, Split. That's just a few of them where they offered monthly pay and shared accommodation. Okay. And the shared accommodation was with other young people.
And how was that experience for you?
Oh my gosh, that experience was crazy. I'm not gonna lie. The first time I moved in with someone, I had lived with people before. Obviously, I have siblings. In university, I lived with my friends. I'd lived with people before. So I thought, this is gonna be fine. But I didn't expect the crazy neighbors. That I had some crazy people that I was living with that would always look for fights, look for arguments.
Fights with you?
Yeah, like because obviously people people have tendencies. So it's like if you're not clean enough or you use my equipment or you touch something or you move something, they will just go mad. So yeah, this person was very, 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 very aggressive and she caused a lot of issues unto the point we had to complain and get her out of the house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My other housemate, she was lovely and she's still my friend now, actually.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So that's the great thing. I made loads of friends. Okay. I stayed in an estate, a popular estate in Lekki as well, which was it eased me in. It was very communal and then ended up in lockdown being there. So we had like a lot of like young people that lived in that estate, which made it fun. So we would like have parties and we would enjoy ourselves. So like I would say like if you're moving for the first time, an serviced estate is ideal.
And you said service. So what's the difference between service and I think there's self-service?
Self-service.
Self-service.
So service usually means there's a facility manager somewhere or it's managed by a company. So things like electricity is taken care of. Let's not forget that we're in Nigeria. Electricity is not constant.
Whether you pay your bills or not, exactly. It doesn't matter.
So having a generator is very necessary, vital, an inverter, things like that. So they handled all of that. Okay. I never once in my time living here have had to change a generator. I don't even know how to change a generator.
Okay.
So if you're doing self-service, you have to change your generator yourself. You have to turn it on, turn it off, make sure that you have to go get fuel and make sure that it's, so you're managing all of that. Which is
I think that's what we're doing. Yeah. That's what we're doing. Because we bought the generator, we haven't got generators yet because the building, we're supposed to put money together.
So that's another thing. Yeah. So if it's
our estate, the people within our estate, we put money together to get the generator.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what our landlord has said we should do.
Okay.
Has he done that yet?
Yeah.
No, but we are waiting because I want it. Yeah. I really want it now. But
it makes a difference when you do have a generator or when you do have serviced apartments or a place that's serviced because you don't have to worry about, there's no light. You don't have to sit in darkness or you don't have to worry about the issues or like things like I said, we live in Nigeria. There's so many issues.
Even as we were filming.
So yeah, the light went off.
So,
but there was a time where we had fuel scarcity.
Okay.
So getting that fuel during fuel scarcity would be a problem for somebody that's doing self-service, because you now have to queue in long lines.
Wow, yeah.
You now have to search for that fuel. There are so many things that are important. So definitely think about if you want to live in self-service or serviced apartments when you are moving.
And one thing that I found out as well when we were decorating the house, which you think of blinds, you think of curtains. Do you think of mosquito nets? I did never thought to think of mosquito nets.
Yeah.
And that was such an afterthought. And thank God for my mum. She was like, you haven't got the mosquito nets yet. And I was like, oh, we haven't. But we have them now. But it's just, again, so many things you don't think
about,
of that you need to consider when you're getting a house or even looking for the house. And is there already mosquito nets there? It's not something you need to get yourself. Is there already ACs in the house? Because some places have ACs and
even
some
water
don't.
heaters. Some buildings actually don't come with your water heater.
There you go.
I had to buy my water heater as well. So, and also, like, I think when you're searching for houses, there are so many other costs. So don't just think you're paying for the house and that's it. No. You have to think about agency fee. You have to think about legal fees. You have to think about service charge. There are so many other costs. So, like, make sure you do your research and have that amount and extra.
Sure.
Yeah. And because also the whole move in is a lot of money, like interior design, like so.
Our house was unfurnished, so we had to get everything for the house.
Yeah,
like, the house didn't even have ACs in the house, so there wasn't one thing that was actually. It was just a house.
Yeah, exactly. An empty house, which is actually normal in the UK. You buy the house and have to fill everything. But then you don't have to think about AC in the UK. You don't have to think about water heater
and I have to think about
generator
or inverter and all these extra things. Like, in my mind, all I was thinking when I was buying things for our house, I was thinking of plates. I was thinking of vases.
Yeah, of course, as a lady.
Yeah, I was thinking of all the details for that. Yeah, I was thinking of all the cute stuff that I wanted to, I was thinking of, I need my Le Creuset pots and stuff, So nothing about, like, these other things even crossed my mind until I was actually finally here and we were like, I was still in La La Land.
Yeah, when I first moved back when I first moved into my first apartment, the shared apartment, it was with Muster and it actually had all furniture. So we didn't have to think about, I need to buy a bed, I need to buy a wardrobe. It came with that. So that really gave me the ease. The only thing that was a bit like, I would say, like, something to watch out for, it was that monthly rent. That monthly was a bit like panicky for me because I know I needed, I was at that time.
Do you think it's better to pay a year in advance then?
Now having done the both, doing 1 year and not even having to think about, I haven't paid rent is the best thing I've ever experienced in my life. That out of my mind, it's done. It's for a whole year. Rent is not my problem. It's the best thing. So I would definitely go the route of 1 year. But for somebody that's just starting up, that wants to maybe try out like Nigeria, but they're not sure, shared apartments that are already serviced is the best way to go. Yeah, definitely.
And we've also created a checklist for you, for people, to help you to, like, know that things that you should ask and you should look out for, like all the things we've just mentioned, that maybe you would not have even thought about, so that you guys can have the tools that you need in order to, find a home in a much easier and seamless way. You don't have to do all the trials and errors.
We've done it for you. I've done it for you.
Bookie mostly has done it for you. I still think mine was a little bit more seamless. My husband did all the actual legwork. But you also mentioned about, like, even there's other things to consider around your house, which for us, there was one thing that my husband was really focused on with our home was actually the roads. And so even when you're there listing a house, they will say it's untarred or tarred roads. And when I was seeing that before, I was like, what is that? untarred and tarred. Again, it's something you don't face like in the UK. Why are they going to tell you that the road's untarred? Like, so even that is something to consider when you're, because you said there's some places that are known to flood. Where luckily where our house is, it isn't.
Abuja doesn't really flood that much. The drainage is really good in Abuja, but in Lagos the drainage is really bad. So you need to look at the areas that are prone to floods and check them. One thing about agents is that they're in it for themselves. They just want to get their deal.
The house sold.
Yeah, so I would say go to the house that you may like after you've done with the agent and just check out the roads, ask questions, ask neighbours, what's it like to live here? Not just that, electricity, because there's different bands as well. So you may be in band A, which means that you get more light than somebody in like band B or C. So check what bands that they're in.
Okay, what's band A?
Okay,
what's those
so band A is basically like band A means that you're supposed to get constant light. Your light is very often. Okay. Whereas band B is like less light. It's like less hours of light. Band C, it goes down and down and down. So those are things to check. The area, the roads, the water, the drainage. I mean, like we said, download our list, our checklist. Well, follow us, of course. Follow us on all our platforms at Journey Back Home Podcast, and then you can have this free checklist. And
that's it for this episode on Journey Back Home.
Bye, guys.